a good question. I will continue to think that CBS will
He once said, "Privacy isn't secrecy, it's peace." But in 1987, Tom Selleck learned that peace sometimes comes with a disguise. The man America saw as the perfect detective, the mustached hero in Hawaiian shirts, walked into a wedding chapel under a false name. No cameras, no entourage, just a borrowed alias and a promise whispered behind closed doors. According to People magazine, 1987, even the minister didn't realize who he was marrying until the papers were signed. That single act, hiding a life moment behind another name, wasn't a stunt. It was survival. Fame had made his smile a public asset. His gestures, property of the audience. So he did what few in Hollywood dared. He stepped sideways, out of the light. Every great story begins with a contradiction. How could a man celebrated for being seen fight so hard to disappear? In that quiet decision lies the entire map of his life, the need to protect something ordinary in a world built to devour it. For Tom Selleck, the false name wasn't the lie. It was the truth he couldn't say out loud. Before the fame, there was a boy from Detroit, quiet, broad-shouldered, already learning how to wait. Tom Selleck wasn't born into lights or legacies. He built them, nail by nail. His father was a carpenter, his mother a homemaker who believed humility was a form of armor. When the family moved to California, the boy who'd once fixed fences found himself surrounded by movie posters and palm trees. He worked nights, stocking shelves to pay tuition at USC, studying business, not acting. Cameras weren't part of the plan. But sometimes, destiny arrives disguised as a detour. One professor suggested he audition for a Pepsi commercial. According to CBS archives from the late 1970 seconds, that single appearance shifted everything. The producers noticed the presence, the stillness, what would later become his trademark silence. From there came the modeling contracts, the auditions, and then the role that changed his life. Magnum P.I. 1980. Behind the effortless charm of that character was exhaustion no script could hide. 12-hour shoots, relentless publicity, the weight of being everyone's idea of a perfect man. The mask fit, but it tightened over time. He once admitted in a 1983 interview, "I was grateful, but I was tired of pretending to be indestructible." That confession marked the beginning of a slow unraveling, the seed of the quiet life he would later build on his ranch. Success had found him, but it also began to cost him. Fame can't be touched, but it leaves fingerprints. By the mid-1980 seconds, Magnum P.I. was unstoppable. Millions watched every week, and the man behind the mustache had become a symbol of effortless cool. But behind the frames, the story was anything but easy. On a warm afternoon in 1984, a stunt helicopter went down during production. The impact killed one crew member instantly and left the set frozen in silence. Production reports from that season confirm a temporary shutdown, the kind that changes a cast forever. Tom never spoke publicly about it, but those close to him said he carried the weight of that day like a shadow stitched into his career. He showed up the next morning, filmed his scenes, smiled when he had to. That was his code. Never let pain interrupt duty. Yet something had shifted. The sparkle that once seemed endless began to dim behind his eyes. He started turning down interviews, asking for time off that the studio rarely granted. When they pushed back, he bought land Ventura County, quiet acres far from everything that demanded his face. Friends thought it was another investment. It wasn't. It was an escape hatch. According to production notes and later interviews, that year marked the first visible crack in the myth of invincibility. The moment he realized fame could give everything except room to breathe. He had money, a hit show, a name everyone knew. But he'd just seen how quickly names could end. When the lights finally dimmed on Magnum P.I, most actors would have rushed to the next headline. Tom Selleck drove the other way. He left behind the island set, the studio gates, and the rhythm of applause that had defined his life for nearly a decade. By 1988, he was living miles north of Los Angeles, Ventura County, California. A ranch, a fence line, a sunrise that belonged to no one but him. It was supposed to be peace, but the world he left didn't forget his name. It waited, quietly, for the next rumor to surface. That peace fractured in 2015, when his name reappeared in headlines for something entirely different. Local officials accused him of diverting public water to irrigate his ranch during a severe drought. The lawsuit, filed in Los Angeles County, read more like a morality play than a civil complaint. To many, it wasn't about water. It was about whether the symbol of quiet integrity had finally taken too much. According to LA County records, 2015, the dispute was settled after a private investigation confirmed a contracted supplier had transported the water without his direct oversight. Still, the story stuck. The irony was unbearable. The man who sought solitude was being painted as someone draining the land itself. He didn't lash out, he didn't grant interviews. He simply went back to the ranch, mending fences in silence, while the media measured his guilt by volume. In that silence, a question lingered. How do you defend yourself without breaking the peace you built? Every man who builds walls eventually finds out what they keep out. For Tom Selleck, the walls around his Ventura ranch were never meant to separate him from fame. They were meant to protect what was left of his family. But by 2020, even that refuge began to tremble. His son, Kevin, once a promising musician, was struggling again, this time with addiction. The tabloids wrote it like a family failure. They missed the truth. It was a father watching his child lose the fight he once believed he could fix. According to TV Guide Archives, 2020, Tom quietly funded Kevin's treatment and refused to sell the story to any outlet, turning down offers that could have reshaped public sympathy. Instead, he stayed silent. Friends later said he believed words could make things worse, that every confession invited new eyes to judge what only a father could understand. During those years, visitors described a pattern. Sunrise rides, long silences at breakfast, letters half-written and never sent. The man who'd once embodied composure now looked like someone holding his breath through life. He told one interviewer, carefully, "You never stop being a parent. You just hope your love still counts." That line never made the final cut, but it carried more truth than any headline. Behind the fences and the oak trees, Tom wasn't hiding anymore. He was enduring. And in that endurance came the hardest question of all. When love can't save someone, what do you hold on to? There's a reason silence echoes louder in wide spaces. By 2023, Tom Selleck had become almost mythic, a face people recognized, a voice they hadn't heard in years. The Ventura Ranch had grown into a self-contained world. Stables, an avocado grove, trails carved by his own hands. It looked like paradise. It felt like exile. He woke before dawn, fed the horses, fixed what broke. He once joked in an interview that his tools were better company than most people. Beneath the humor was a truth too heavy to say plainly. Peace had become its own kind of prison. According to a 2023 People interview, he admitted the work kept him sane, but the weight of the ranch, the fences, the livestock, the upkeep was becoming more than he could manage. At 78, the man who once outran explosions on screen was now battling the slow erosion of strength. He'd chosen solitude to escape the noise of fame, yet the silence demanded payment of its own. Each day became a ledger of aches and repairs. He could control the gates, the water, the hours, but not the passing of time. Neighbors said they often saw him walking alone at dusk, hat low, hands in his pockets, tracing the same path to the ridge behind the house. He would stop, look toward the horizon, and stand still for minutes at a time, as if waiting for something to answer back. It was the same man America once cheered for. Only now, applause had been replaced by wind. It happened on live television October 2025. The man who'd spent decades avoiding cameras finally sat beneath one again.